Always be learning.
And then
Find your passion.
And stay targeted.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's good to start off broad
Yeah.
to learn what you like.
Yeah.
But once you find what you like, really hone in on that thing and kind of specialize is probably the best thing that I could say.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you'll start to become a master at what you do.
Yeah.
And once you start to really understand that thing, that knowledge is invaluable.
Sure, for sure.
And that's the thing that ultimately that people are after, right? When they're trying to hire you, it's like, what do you know? What can you do?
Yeah.
How can you help us in our company?
Yeah, how can you better our environment? Absolutely. Yeah.
Welcome to the Bullpen podcast hosted by Torian Consulting. I'm Sonia Pedowick.
I'm Bobby Watkins.
I'm Misty Rodriguez.
Each week we'll be bringing you different episodes about fintech and talent.
It's going to be exciting to be able to talk about these topics in depth, to be able to bring you guests, to be able to dive into topics on recruiting, mental health, the job market, new technologies, and of course, everything happening in our beloved city of Las Vegas.
Do you want a job or not?
Let's grab the bull by the horns.
Welcome back to the Bullpen podcast. I'm your host, Sonia Pedowick, with my co-host,
Misty Rodriguez.
And today we have a guest with us that we're super excited. David Arroyo has been a candidate, longtime contact of Torian Consulting. And so we're interviewing a candidate today. It's kind of exciting, yeah?
Different perspective.
Yes.
Very exciting. Yes.
So welcome to the show.
It's like, why?
So tell us a little bit about, so I'm trying to remember because it's pre-pandemic, those years that all meshed together, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about like how we met, kind of your journey into IT. Just give us like the 411.
It's a very interesting story, and thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Yeah, it's a very fascinating story because I started off, I was getting ready to actually finish high school around like 2018.
Right before those years.
Yes. It was like right after the Mandalay Bay and right before the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, October 1 in pandemic. That's right. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a rough one.
Gosh, in high school. So you were just finishing high school.
Yep. And I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. My initial plan was cybersecurity. I was thinking about going to college for cybersecurity, but I didn't like the idea of the amount of debt that I was going to be in.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's fair.
And then I would have been the only person in my family to really, at least my immediate family, to go to college.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my dad didn't get his diploma till he was like in his 40s.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Congratulations, though.
Yes.
Either way, it's a pretty big win.
Yeah.
and so to be one of the few people in my family to, graduate on time, trying to navigate, whether I wanted to go to college, whether I wanted to, what to do was a huge undertaking.
Sure.
At least it felt like it
Yeah.
at the time for myself. And the idea of debt was very scary. I was very fortunate that one of my mom's coworkers just so happened to know the teacher at the time for Tech Impact.
Nice.
So my mom told me about Tech Impact. It was like, hey, there's this program. It's 16 weeks, and they're supposed to provide you an internship and help you get started in IT. And I was like, it's completely free. It'd be perfect.
Right.
And so I applied for Tech Impact. They interviewed me. Funny thing about that whole situation is my mom's friend's son also went to Tech Impact at the same time that I did.
Same cohort you were in. Yeah.
Yeah. But my last name is the same last name as her friend, but her son has a different last name. Her son's last name is the same last name as my mom's.
That's confusing.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So their last name, or her friend's last name is Arroyo. My last name is Arroyo. My mom's last name is Garcia. Her friend's son's last name is Garcia. So she was talking to her friend, and she hadn't yet interviewed her son. And she was like, oh, yeah, we already talked to your son. We interviewed him. We think he's great. He's going to be awesome. He's like, who? My son said he hasn't gone through the interview yet.
Oh, no.
Like, who's? He's like, yeah, David Arroyo. She was like, no,
the other.
Daniel Garcia. I was like, oh, that's great.
But
That's
he got
funny.
in too, though, right?
Yeah, he ended up getting in too. So that was great.
And really quick, for those who don't know, IT Works is part of Tech Impact, right?
Yep.
And so Tech Impact is really out of Pennsylvania or Philadelphia.
Delaware.
Is Is it originally Delaware?
I think Delaware, yeah.
And so they came to Las Vegas. I can't remember if you were like the third or fourth year because they had already been here for a couple of years.
I think I was like the fifth.
Okay, so
Like third or fourth year, but like the fifth class.
fifth class. So they have cohorts that are free, 19 to 26 years old.
26.
And it is that 16 weeks, 11 weeks in the classroom learning basic networking, right?
Yep.
And you're set up to get your CompTIA A plus and to get another
Network.
certification.
Your
Nice network,
your Cisco IT Essentials
Essential
certification.
certification. So they do all the in-room training, all of the technical training in the class, but they also involve the community, which is how we got involved. Is they have each student is paired with a mentor, a business mentor, either someone like in our field or someone from the IT world, ideally.
Yeah.
So like different directors of infrastructure, systems engineers, like all levels, mentor you guys and take you lunch and kind of keep the conversation, keep you excited about what it is that you're doing. And then the 5 weeks at the end is an internship, sometimes paid, sometimes not paid.
Yeah.
And so that is through their partnerships with companies in town. And then that's when you get some of your on the job. And then a lot of those students have gone on to maintain either those jobs or build a resume and relationships for other jobs in the community, which is really great.
Oh, yeah.
Really great.
And then they also have their Friday sessions every Friday, which are dedicated for
people come
professional
in.
development.
Yep.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was really grateful for those too, because some of the topics that some of the companies covered, like time management, stress management, managing burnout, all of those things, especially in IT, I think are very needed.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I've noticed, even just being in the field, is the amount of people that are dealing with burnout.
Yeah.
And so it's very needed, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, it's nice because it's like not just like, hey, how do you go and like, configure a router, but you have to be able to deal with situations. And coming out of high school, you're not getting a lot of that training, right? You're
Not
conflict
anymore.
resolution, stress management.
How to work with people.
Right. And a lot of,
Just
to your point, a lot of the students are a lot of times first time generation graduating from any sort of certification program.
Yeah.
And so maybe some of the experiences they have at home isn't also a professional career, right? Maybe some of their parents are in service
They weren't
industry
taught.
or not
Yeah.
working, or, some of them took care of all the kids and like they just didn't have the world experience from a business professional. So to get the technical
yeah.
coupled with the personal resume, they did mock interviews, resume writing, LinkedIn, social media, awareness and how to present yourself online, kind of makes you more rounded.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think sometimes they cover just one like topic, because when we would go in, it was how to work with like recruiting or things of that, like how to partner.
Yeah. And Christine for our company, she always did the change management and stress one. I think that was the one she liked to do.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, even for the people that are coming in just to chat and, you know, like it's so much fun.
Well, you see like that in the future and they're so eager to like go a different path into the IT field. So
That's true.
So we'll come back to that. But so you took the class and then you got your internship.
Yeah, so I got my internship and I really enjoyed where I was at. And at the end of my internship, the CTO at the time had asked me, he was like, hey, I would love to be able to bring you on, but the finances for the company just aren't there at this time. He was like, generally we don't hire tier 1 techs, but he's like, for you, I'd be willing to make the exception. We just don't have the spot right now. And that was very encouraging for me to hear that, he was willing to make that exception and wanted to bring me on, that just he couldn't.
Right.
And so I was very motivated after that to, apply where I could, send out my resume everywhere that I could, try and do everything that I could. And it actually took me a while to land my first like full-time job. And I think I was looking because the internship ended November, I believe.
Yeah. That sounds
November
right.
2019.
Yeah.
2018. And so I didn't get hired on for my first full-time position until April 2019.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty long stretch.
Right.
But during that time, I remember just applying. I made like applying my job.
Yeah.
Like, every day I was doing as many applications as I could, trying to do everything that I could. And at a certain point, it did get a little discouraging because it's like I'm new.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do what I can, actually putting in the work to
Right.
try and
I just need
get
a
into these
shot.
positions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one day, I believe I got a call from Christine.
Yeah.
And over at Torian.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was like, "Hey, we have someone who's looking for someone, and I think you would be a great fit
Yep.
for this company, and we want to introduce you to them, and see if it's some like a fit."
Yeah.
And sure enough, I went for an interview. Still fresh out of high school. I didn't even have a car at this time.
Yeah.
So I rode my bike over to the
Oh my
interview.
gosh, that's right.
Okay, that's okay.
And I didn't have my license or a car.
Yeah.
I rode my bike over to the interview, and we had the interview, and they were very nice. They were very accommodating as well, because I told them, I was riding my bike. They're like, "Oh, well, what's roughly an area?" We met at an Einstein Bros Bagels place that was kind of close.
Right.
So I didn't have to ride too far. And after the interview, they had told me like, "Hey, we'll get back to you Friday and we'll let you know what our decision is." I was like, "Okay, perfect." I felt like the interview went great.
Yep. Yep.
And then come Friday, I didn't hear anything.
Ah.
I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I'm like,
no."
oh.
But that following Tuesday, I actually got a call from Christine,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Hey, do you have some time this Tuesday to come over to the office and talk about, your interview and stuff
Right.
like that?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I was like kind of nervous, afraid,
right.
excited, but also like I didn't know like if it was like, "Okay, I got rejected. That's why I'm
Sure.
coming back to the office."
Just
What's
tell me
going
over the
on?
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
Just tell me on
Let
the
me down
phone.
easy.
Yeah, I can hang up and walk away.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
And so I came over to the office back when you guys were sharing with Agilitech,
Right.
and
That's how long ago, right?
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sat down on her
Flashbacks.
couch, and she's like, "Hey," so I talked with the company,
Right.
and they had a couple of questions, but they want to know a couple of things. But if these questions are a yes, which essentially just had to do with transportation,
Right.
how willing I would be to get my license, how
Right, right.
fast I think I could get a car and stuff like that. And, I was gung ho, so I was like, "I'll get it as soon as I can." And she was like, "Okay, perfect. I'll let them know, and then I'll give you a call tomorrow."
Nice.
So what I did was after I talked with Christine that Tuesday, that Wednesday I went over to the DMV and I got my learner's permit.
Right.
The very next day.
Nice.
I was
I like it.
And then I called Christine. I told her, I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I got my learner's permit. I want to show that I'm serious. This
Right.
is what I want to do." She called the company, and later on that afternoon they sent me the offer. And I had
yay.
my first full-time job.
That's so awesome.
And so,
Was her husband Dave your mentor too?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Can I stop for 1 second though? Not to
Yeah.
cut you off, but like
it's okay.
his showing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What he would do
Oh,
or that first role
Yeah, yeah.
should also be like to the people out there
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? Went that
Yeah.
extra mile to make sure that you did get that role.
Yeah.
And some people complain that they don't even want to do like their resumes different. And I'm
gosh,
like,
yeah.
but you went out there, rode your bike. No, I hope it wasn't summer, by the way. Oh my gosh.
I think
It was spring.
no. It
Oh,
was like
okay.
spring.
yeah.
It
Okay,
wasn't
I was
too
like,
hot.
"Ooh,
Yeah.
Lord." And then I really got to give you but like, that shows a lot of like on your behalf,
Yeah.
how much you were willing to go do that. And it worked out. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. But
It's a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it. in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
end, So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great. So yeah, speaking of that, I do think that there's like this whole like attitude. Well, what's the company going to do for me?
Yeah.
And like,
Oh,
what do
yeah.
I have to? Yeah, you definitely showed a lot of initiative. When I first moved to Vegas, I didn't have a car. I had to take a bus around to get to
Same.
like job interviews and like, and I'm going back 20 something years now. It's because we got here 2000, 2001.
well, the bus was nice then. It was brand new.
Still was very limited, and like
Yeah.
it either went up or down Sahara.
That was it.
And then you'd have to wait to go north and south. You'd have to wait like 45 minutes to catch. It was not the easiest thing to
remember that.
do, right?
Yeah.
have to leave at 6 a.m.
4 buses
Yeah.
to turn to the left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got to jump that bus to catch the next
Yeah.
bus, clear down the block.
Right,
and you're
right.
like,
RTC has definitely gotten better, but back
Oh,
then
yeah.
it was like, oh my gosh, like how long? Wait, where do I catch this? And but to show that initiative as someone
yeah.
who's like, and you were very motivated. I can't remember. Were you already dating your wife at that point? Like you had planned. No.
At that point, I was single.
Yeah, single, yeah.
Yeah,
But you
so-
wanted to take care of your family. You wanted to
Yeah.
like make this a career. Like you were definitely very motivated to like
Yeah. I was very future oriented.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I was definitely looking towards building a future for myself and
Right.
then a future family, you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, wanting to make the most out of life,
Right.
especially, you know, considering my family situation
Yeah.
as well, you know,
Yeah.
seeing, you know, not the best
Right.
growing up, not having the most money or, you know, kind of not being the most fortunate, but seeing that there are opportunities out there.
Yeah.
Even for someone like me that, you know, it's like there are things that you can do.
Yeah.
There are things that if we're willing to put in the work, willing to put in the effort.
Right.
And, you know, where I'm at today, I think serves as a good
Yes.
gauge of if
Yeah.
you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to put in the effort,
Yeah.
no matter what your circumstance is,
Yeah.
just what you can do.
Half of it is just showing up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And like showing up in your own life and then in the process to be like, look at me, like a lot of candidates, like said, like, do I have to be on an interview at 12? Like, or, you
Is
know,
the camera on?
Is it, yeah. I have to get dressed up for an interview. Do
Yeah,
I have
it's
to,
like-
and you're like, gosh, it's a job. Like, I'm a little bit like you. Like I work 2-3 jobs. Like I'll just do whatever. Like I have to figure it out. I moved out here, followed the boyfriend, now my husband, and didn't have a car, didn't have a job. And I was like, well, I gotta make something happen. No one's coming to save me.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of mentality, which I admire about you. So you were there for quite a while. Did you also pursue other certifications or did you, like, as far as like adding to your toolbox?
So that's one of the things that I will say I do kind of regret a little bit. I pursued them in the terms of I learned the educational stuff, like the material for them, but I never actually obtained them.
Yeah.
So around the time that I was actually supposed to take my Network Plus, I actually had the test scheduled and was getting ready to go take it. One of our grandmas had passed away around that time. And I completely spaced on the day that I was actually supposed to go. And it was like the next week. And then I remember sitting there thinking like, that was last week. I was supposed to go take the test. Well, there goes $300.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. And they're not cheap, but
They're
they're
not-
not over the top.
Yeah.
But it's a lot when you miss it. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, man,
Yeah.
I just spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
get
then-
that.
And then so like I kind of got a little bit derailed on that portion. And there were other life circumstances that kind of happened that kind of derailed me from at least obtaining certifications.
Yeah.
But I didn't stop learning on the side.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a big part of being in tech as well as
Yeah.
learning what you can from other people and even just networking, building those connections. Because I attribute a lot of the knowledge and stuff that I have now, a lot of the stuff that I'm able to do. Because like the role that I'm in to only have essentially my CompTIA A plus, I feel like is still pretty not necessarily easy to do without having the skill set, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But like I have friends and, you know, other coworkers and people that along the way, you know, I pick their brains. I talk, I ask questions.
Oh, no.
like,
Yeah.
why did you do this thing for X network or
Right.
whatever? And like even recently, one of my buddies who's a network engineer, he's always like super excited to show me like the newest like technique that he found to do something. So like for instance, whenever I feel like natural instinct when you see an APIPA address or like 169.254 is, oh, DHCP isn't working.
Right.
Because it's like it's, you know, it's
Not-
getting its own address. It's
Right.
not working, you know. Is it broken at the switch? Is the DHCP services not functioning? What's actually happening? He since it's still technically routable addresses to some
Right.
extent, he started using it as a way as like transit routes to be able to route between like the routers themselves can still communicate through using 169.254, that address range, but it's not pingable. So like if you want to have something kind of like routing in a way that's a little bit more hidden, a little bit more secret, like you can use that range so
Right.
that way
Wink,
it's,
wink.
it's
Stealth.
not pingable.
Yes.
It's not pingable.
It's not the
You
dark
can't see
web,
it.
but
And then when the routers talk, all they see is the routers themselves talking to
Right.
each other. Like
the robots are.
yeah,
Oof.
the robots are coming for us.
No, that's really important
blame
because
David when
you
it
know,
happens.
right?
Like, it's your
Staying
fault.
in a space of always learning because technology is always changing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we'll talk to managers all the time about like, do you want the education? Do you want the certification? Or do you want the experience? and it's always split. It's not across the board, right? And
They're all different.
Yeah, and some of them are like, no, I really want to see that someone finished that college degree and got that under their belt, or I want to see that they attained some certifications. But more often or not, even this like last security role that we were talking to, he's like, I don't really care if they have a degree and if they have certifications. I just want to see that they've done the work and that they've like grown in their career and they've taken on, and taken on different environments. And I think so much of technology is hands-on too. It's not always textbook, but there are some old school that I just want to see that he or she completed it, that they went for it and they achieved it, right? Whether it was a degree or certification, but it's always interesting when it's on the job description. You're like, does this really matter? Does it not matter?
Well, and I think the funny thing is about when they talk about like degrees, like when you say computer science, that encompasses a lot, not just, it gives them a broad range so they can figure out where they want to go from there. But if you're narrowing in on like sysadmin, you know what I mean? Like there's certain certifications that are dedicated just to that. And it's like, there's a difference. No offense to all the college degree people out there.
There's no one size fits all, which is so interesting in IT, right? Because you see some people who the only reason they went back to get their degree is because they couldn't get the director title.
Yeah, it's usually a management thing. Yeah,
and some are like, oh, we don't promote people to this role unless they have some degree. They have to have.
I've heard MBA lately, and I'm like,
really?
Okay. Plus 20 years? Okay.
Sure.
So you touched a little bit on, so obviously IT Works was a blessing, right? It's free. It was a great, it's definitely an organization we promote and support. But then kind of working on the recruiter side was, kind of talk us through what you thought the upside was or the benefit or drawback or whatever of having worked with a recruiter.
I think working with a recruiter, especially if you're new into IT, is really helpful in many ways because the recruiters themselves, they're used to seeing the different roles. They're used to seeing what the companies are requiring.
Right.
And, they have connections that we don't have.
Sure.
So like, for instance, like I would have never known about the opportunity had not Christine had that connection, right? Or Tori and not have the connections that they have,
right?
And then even then, like I'm very terrible at making resumes. Like anytime I try and make a resume, it's just I look at it afterwards and I'm like, this doesn't. It's not right.
Why?
This is not.
Right.
Like
too many.
They're
words.
gonna look at this and they're not even gonna look at it. They're just gonna be like, yeah, okay, throw it out.
Right.
And so
swipe left.
Yeah, seriously. Gone. Nope. Round file.
Yes, exactly.
And so having those, someone who's a lot more versed in helping you build a resume, helping you guide, I see them as kind of like recruiters are more of like a guide to be able to help you even into your next role of like, hey, look, I know this is something that you want to do, but based off of your experience, like these are some of the things that you might want to look at, like adding to your belt in order to help. That will make some of these companies that we know are looking for people, that will make them more willing to interview you and see if you're a possible candidate.
Yeah. And I think for Torian too, we take that resume really seriously. And, Christine definitely took it very seriously to make sure like, what is the client looking for so that I can highlight that. And we don't want to misrepresent, we don't lie or falsify anything on anyone's resume, but I think we do have it dialed in. Like every resume looks the same, it's branded, it's this and that, but what's on it and what's going to catch the client's eye is really important to us. And, that may have even just started with Kelly, who worked on my team before Christine. And then Christine really created a whole process in how we format and make them look all pretty to make sure that they catch the eye of the hiring manager. Because we feel like it's our one shot to get you the interview and we don't want to mess that part up. And so I know she took that part of her job very seriously in a very good way and was very successful in helping people land jobs where a lot of times it's like if the resume is going through a parser or an HR person or someone who doesn't, the applicant tracking system or someone who really doesn't know the role, they're going to just
especially tech.
Yeah.
No offense to the HR recruiters, but if you don't know the technology, or weren't trained as a tech recruiter, they're just, here you go. Here's some resumes. Look at them. Let me know, kind of. But that's what you're there for.
Yeah.
So That's
And
our
we
job.
also know what the client's looking for. And if they see something on your resume and they're like, oh, tell us about this. And you're like, oh, it was just in my environment. I didn't really touch it. We're like, oh, don't put it on your resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't.
That happens all the time. So, and then I think the coaching piece and the role playing on interviews, I think you went through some of that with her as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I went,
she's so-
I went
yeah.
through a little bit of that with her, and then also with Tech Impact as well.
Yeah.
Which was also really helpful and very helpful for building the confidence when you actually go in for it.
Yeah.
And for myself, it actually landed some really good, I think, like business connections.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys know of Workday
Oh,
and then
yeah.
Workday Rising.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So when I was at Tech Impact, we actually had a mock interview there as well.
Nice.
And when I was doing that mock interview, I was doing it with I think she was like one of the executive assistants. And at the end of the mock interview, well, not at the end of the mock interview, it was like the next day, she actually found me on LinkedIn.
Oh, wow.
And reached out to me, and she was like, hey, I was really impressed with the way that you interviewed.
Nice.
Really impressed with the way that you interviewed. I would like to, keep in touch with you and see, where you go in life, how you're how you're
nice.
doing, and really just, keep in contact. Just, you never know if there's an opportunity
Right.
or maybe one day you can come work
Yep,
for
yep,
Workday.
yep. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that'd be perfect.
Right.
And so I kept in contact with her. And the next year when they went to do Workday Rising, they actually wanted to try and motivate some of the other workers to help out with like mock interviews and stuff like that. And they had a writer that actually wanted to do an article on our relationship, on how it went. So she wrote something about, our relationship, how we had met, how the interview went and everything like that. And they posted up on Workday to encourage other workers to try and just do those interviews, build those connections,
Right.
and really helping out the community.
That's pretty cool.
And the article actually ended up getting picked up by Forbes,
Ah.
which
wow.
was really like, for me, I was 19 at the time. I was like, mind blown.
Yeah.
Forbes? What? Yes, it's actually on my LinkedIn. So when you look at my profile, if you scroll down a little bit, it has the Forbes link. It's right there.
Oh, that's so cool. That's very cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
So-
Right on.
So I was like, but those instill confidence
Yeah.
in people, like having those mock interviews, because it's
Especially
like,
newer.
yeah. And it's like, you don't always know, like, where am I supposed to look? What am I supposed to do with my hands? I believe with Christine, like one of the mock interviews that I did, she commented on like my eye contact and like, kind of matching the posture of your interview to some
Yeah.
extent, where it's like, not when you're in an interview, not being like super
Yeah.
slouched or,
Yep.
making sure you have good posture. If the person you're interviewing is kind of leaning forward, it's okay to lean forward too. Kind
Yeah.
of
Follow.
match
Mirroring,
their
yeah,
energy
yeah.
and, making good eye contact, but not so much that you look like a creep.
Yes, do that little smile, half
Just
smile.
stared. Yeah.
But not over like,
Yeah. Not too much. And so like having that, I think, because most of the time when I go for an interview, I don't think I've ever come out of an interview after, some of the mock interviews with Christine and the training and stuff. I don't think I've come out of an interview where I felt like I did very badly. Like
Yeah.
that was very poor on my end.
Right.
But I think a lot of that comes from the mock interviews,
yeah.
the practice,
Right.
going through it again.
And it's hard coming out of like high school too and going into like a professional world if you're not taught some of those.
Yeah.
yeah, they don't teach all that anymore.
No.
They used to, I think back in the day, even like checkbooks. Remember way back when,
Yeah.
they would teach you like how to, not that I did well, but break it all down. And like, we don't even use that anymore. It's
Right.
like, you're just
Yeah.
hoping for the best on your,
Yeah.
anyway.
But communication skills are like,
Oh,
they're
they're not
hard. And if you don't have that, like with your parents or people in your life to model, like what's a proper communication or how do I ask for the job or how do I talk about my own skills? Like those are, I think by and large, that's the biggest part we work with people on because, oh, no, don't say that. Or here's a way that you can say that, or you want to highlight
Check your
this, or
spelling. Oh my gosh, please check your spelling.
Yeah.
and just be
Like,
engaged, right? Because
You're trying to get hired.
right.
Yeah.
Not-
But you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you, and
Yeah,
so
that's what I
just
tell
being able
people.
to like,
What if you don't like them?
right,
Yeah, you have the right to turn down a role or
Sure.
that kind of thing. So it's a two-way street. But
Yeah.
but I
Absolutely.
think like the mock interviews, we've gotten away from a lot. Like I think since COVID, because
Yeah.
everybody was remote.
Yeah.
You were behind this screen and You know, they can't really see your
We had to do a lot of
personality.
teaching on that too, like how to do a virtual interview. There was so much.
Those are
where,
tough. I think they're tough because you can't
what's
look
in
away.
your background? What's
Yeah.
around you? Where you're
Do
looking?
you have good lighting? Do you have like,
Yeah.
like,
You have good
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah.
yeah? How's your internet? Is it holding up?
Seriously.
No. Yeah. I'm
I'm
like,
trying to think. We did like a director of operations role like a couple of years back, and it was, 6-figure position, pretty high up, whatever, with an HOA organization. And the guy had they snapped up wanting to interview him right away because he had a lot of the things that they wanted on like his resume. He was a consultant, had worked in banking and housing and real estate. So it was really great match on paper.
Yeah.
As soon as the interview turned on, I'm like, they're not going to hire this guy. He's like
Yeah.
a total jerk. So he had like a consulting thing, and it was a consulting project, a consulting role as the director of operations, but he was in his home office and this camera was like over here and he's like laid back in his chair. And I was like 30 seconds in, I was like, your camera's not even looking at your face.
Yeah.
And I told him that after. He's like, what does it matter? As long as they could hear me and talk to me, I was looking at them. I'm like,
ooh, it's not the same vibe.
ew.
though. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
And this was like a 50, 60-year-old guy. And I was like, oh, whatever.
so his
That-
ego went before
Yeah,
him. and-
yeah. But just like basic 101 things that some people just don't. And it's not bad. It's just that it was never modeled for them.
Right.
I always say it's like acting.
Yeah.
Do you just go in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you walk away, you can go back to being that person that slouches and, you know what I mean? Like chills on their couch or whatever. But like
Dress
in
for
that
the part you want.
Yeah. If you want that part, you're going to play the part for the next half hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
You know, like to put on a smile.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Engage, communicate
it's like-
properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have been some of like lessons learned over the kind of course, I guess, of your journey to where you are today? What advice, I guess, would you have for people out there?
I think the biggest piece of advice would be one, always keep learning. Always keep learning. But I think the biggest mistake for myself was not being a lot more targeted early on where I wanted to go in tech. Because even now, like I still I enjoy what I do, but now I'm looking more at seeing what the possibilities are for like different security type positions. Like one of the things that's kind of caught my eye recently is looking at like cryptography.
Oh, yeah.
And it's it's very complex. I think that's why it intrigues me. I think I get bored if things are too simple.
Sure, for sure.
And then Stanford University, they actually have a free course for people to take on cryptography.
Nice.
And I decided to take it because it's free. Why not?
Right, right.
Free
Why not?
education.
Yeah,
It's free.
And they go into like the history of the concepts of cryptography, how it started not just with tech, but they had physical devices that had like either like prongs or like locks that were made in a specific way in which we model cryptography off of those physical devices. I would have never known had I not, started taking that class.
For sure.
But like, it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is find what interests you in tech.
Yeah.
Finding the things that don't necessarily look after like what's going to make me the most money right away.
Sure.
Because the money will come eventually, right?
Yeah, that's
As you learn, you grow, you'll start to, you'll advance in roles, you'll start to make more money and things go. But ultimately, long term, it's like, if you want to stay in tech long term, you have to find the things that you're genuinely passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing would be find what you're motivated by, find what interests you.
Yeah.
And take some time to play, to tinker. Even during COVID, I remember posting on my Instagram, me playing with Proxmox, like different like virtualization, like freeware.
Yeah.
And like I used pfSense to create my own router at home to be able to mess with like traffic shaping. Wow. So like different stuff like that.
So nerded out right now.
Yeah.
So always be learning.
And then
Find your passion.
And stay targeted.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's good to start off broad to learn what you like.
Yeah.
But once you find what you like, really hone in on that thing and kind of specialize is probably the best thing that I could say.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you'll start to become a master at what you do.
Yeah.
And once you start to really understand that thing, that knowledge is invaluable.
Sure, for sure, for
and
sure.
that's the thing that ultimately that people are after, right? When they're trying to hire you, it's like, what do you know? What can you do?
Yeah.
How can you help us in our company?
Yeah, how can you better our environment? Absolutely. Yeah.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, and then networking, getting yourself out there, working with a recruiter. Like,
Yep.
what are your opinions on all of those things?
I think they're very important as well. Working with a recruiter will help you find opportunities that you may not know existed. They have more insight, especially early on, more insight than you on what the environment looks like, what the job market looks like, where you can go, the different things that you may even need to work on yourself.
Yeah.
And in order to get that next role that you really want. Networking is also very huge because, especially here, we're a big city, but it's a small town.
Yeah, it's very true.
I say that all the time to people.
Yeah.
We all know each other
Yes.
in some sort of fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
In tech, we all know
Yeah.
each other
Oh,
somehow.
yeah. Absolutely. And word gets around, like people will start to recognize like your name or, you know,
the company
like
you
the
work for.
company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so building good relationships and obviously, you know, making sure you're not burning any bridges, keeping, you know, your name clean
Yeah, it's very true.
and just, you know, keeping a good rapport because you never know what opportunities will come through it.
Yep.
Like, for instance, when I left that first opportunity, the next MSP that I worked for was through, I don't know if I should say his name or not,
You probably could.
was through John.
Yeah.
John over at Agilitech. Because I was telling him, you know, like I wanted kind of the things that I wanted to learn. I had kept that communication with him
Open,
where open, you know, kept that relationship, continued to, you know, check in every now and again, like, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? Let's meet up for coffee.
Right.
You know, and when came time, you know, he wasn't able to hire me during my internship,
Right.
but he was able to get me my second role.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would have happened had I not networked,
Yeah.
had I not
and kept a
maintained-
good relationship with John,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Because I think reputation and referrals go very far in this town. And for him, I think that's one thing. Like if I can't hire you, it doesn't mean nobody can hire you. And
Yeah.
Or you
John's
may
always
know
been
someone.
really, I may know
Yeah.
another environment or company that's better for you, that's going to move you along. And now full circle, he's doing his own thing. You
Yeah.
guys are still connected, and that relationship is really important for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you still talk to your mentor, Dave?
I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah.
I probably should reach back out to him and be like, hey, how's it going? It's been a while.
Oh my God, he'd probably love to hear
Yeah.
from you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do that after I leave here.
Yeah. Tell him I said hi.
By the
I
way,
Yeah,
By the
no, it's
way,
important to
how's it
like.
going?
I had lunch with someone the other day, and they're like, "You really should reach out to this person." And I was like, and he's like, I talk to him every once in a while. He does ask about you. You should call him. I'm like, oh, you get so busy being busy, but those relationships are they're important, and you just never know when you're going to collaborate or work together or compete against each other on something. And I just think it is important to always just be good to your references, your referrals, and then you never know how you might be able to help them back out too.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's really important. So, so that's awesome. It's neat to see like where you've come, like from high school out of that program.
Yeah.
I mean, that program is really great, and it's done a lot of things for the good people. But you get out of it what you put into it. And I
Yes.
think you put a lot into it, and then you continue to put a lot into yourself,
Yep.
which is awesome, and you'll go far
Yeah.
in your career, which I think it's really amazing to kind of see, be like, hey, we were a tiny bit a part of that journey for him, which is that's what makes our world go round for sure.
well, I think the other thing is like, it's still a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though you're working full time, we didn't help you with that. You know what I mean? Like it's still always there. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a nice testament to,
Yeah.
I think, true recruiting.
Yeah.
I say
Absolutely.
That's why we do what we do.
I'm like, I say true. 'Cause
Yeah.
we all know.
And then even now with like the stuff that you're doing with like AITP, I think is huge for the tech community as a whole.
Yeah.
And shout out to John for inviting me over there
Yeah,
too.
see?
So
Maintain relationship.
Be like, hey,
Good
John.
John. Yeah.
hey John, how's it going?
Hey, John.
If you see this, you the man.
We'll respond to that email. No.
That's so awesome.
Oh,
so-
hey, John. No.
Yeah, I definitely think giving back, especially to the tech community, is something that
so important.
it's very important and something I want to do more of too.
Yeah.
and which is part of why I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here as well, and then to have been at AITP, because even just the roles that I've been in, the amount of people that I've had talk to me be like, hey, I was thinking about trying to go into IT.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. And I think through even Tech Impact and the relationships, there's a lot of different routes that people can go that are also very inexpensive, very free. There's a lot of resources online that I learned about.
They don't know that.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there.
There is so much. PBS had a program. IT Works has a program. Goodwill had a program.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to be willing to like, what is important to me? What's the path I want to take? And then take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Ride your bike.
Yeah. Ride your bike.
Ride your
Take a
bike.
bus now.
If all else fails, ride your bike.
Yes, exactly. Well, as we close up here, any parting words or things that you want to like ride your bike?
Ride your bike.
Thanks for joining us in the Bullpen hosted by TCG. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who can benefit from it. Hit that subscribe button. And until next time, do you want a job or not?